Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show today, episode 160. It is, well, it's not Friday. It's Thursday, December 14th. I'm not here tomorrow, so we're doing a show today. We wanted to get one in. Thanks for joining us. We have some hot topics to go over today. Net neutrality was just killed by the FCC, which is, kind of a big deal. Definitely got some scorching hot takes on that. Oh, hey, Tim, you're here. You want to say hi?
Hey guys, how's it going? Tim here. Thank you.
Tim's here too. I'm not just here talking by myself. Sorry about that. Anyways, net neutrality. We want to talk about that. OnePlus 5T, our review is now up. We have a Google Home Max. I reviewed the Pixel Buds. We have Galaxy S9 renders that are probably looking like what we're going to get. There's some other stuff going on. T-Mobile wants to launch TV service. Snapdragon 845 is official. And the Chromecast is almost back on Amazon. Almost. Not quite, but almost. So anyway, we might as well just get this stuff out of the way. Let's talk about net neutrality. So FCC voted today along party lines 3-2 to repeal or kill the previous rules set in by Tom Wheeler's crew, who was previously at the head of the FCC, which removes the Title II rules that essentially said, you can't block stuff, no prioritization, no paid lanes, that sort of thing, which we've talked about on numerous occasions on the site. It also sort of, I believe we were to the point where we were trying to classify internet service providers as utilities, and now that goes all the way. They're not a utility at all under these new rules. And the whole idea here behind the FCC's argument to get rid of all these consumer protection related rules is to make the internet free and open. And so there are no restrictions or regulations on anything. And that will spur innovation and network build out. And it's all going to be awesome. It's one of those topics where we don't know necessarily just yet what's going to happen. There's some examples of places like countries that don't have any sort of regulation over their internet service providers, and there's some scary things. We're talking about packages on your cell phone plan for messaging and some other stuff, right? Where everything's broken down into these specific groups. You pay more for some stuff. So obviously none of that's happened yet, right? So there's obviously a big freak out. I think we're certainly on the, well, I should say, I don't want to speak for you. I'm certainly on the side of net neutrality being a good thing. We need some regulation over telecom companies. They don't typically care about the people who pay them, for service every month. They rather would you pay more and more and more and more. So they'll do that in any way possible. We've seen throughout history that being the case. With net neutrality in place, I feel like, they were not allowed to necessarily do that. Now going forward, it could be the Wild West. Maybe we will all hold them to we will hold them to I guess we should say we should keep them in check. Maybe we'll all freak out every time they try to do something sneaky, and they won't, and they'll back away and everything will be fine, and prices will drop and networks will expand. I have no idea. My gut tells me that stuff's probably not going to happen, that they will find ways to nickel and dime us, and things could get bad. I don't know. What do you want to say? I could probably sit here and talk for an hour on my opinions on it.
Wow.
Do you have an immediate reaction to this today's vote, which maybe shouldn't have happened? It happened super quickly. There might have been a bomb threat in the middle of it. We're not really sure. It was a weird one. There were some jokes. Just having a good time up here as the FCC chairman.
There were actually a lot of jokes, which was a little unfortunate. I mean, given the severity of the situation. Contrary to what you may believe, provided the handsome cardboard cutout behind me, I am in favor of net neutrality. I am not a Comcast stockholder or Verizon stockholder. Yeah,
just like the cutout. Yeah,
exactly. Big thumbs down for the gentleman behind me. But right now, nothing is changing. Just like they said, the FCC, the head of the FCC said, the internet's not going to die today, with their vote or anything like that. We still have, there's a lot of steps those who are in favor of net neutrality can take, I think, to change the outcome, and whether that's going to be legislative, that's probably the only route at this point, or pending lawsuits from various companies who are for
Yeah.
net neutrality. I mean, there's so much that could still happen. So, right now I'm not freaking out. I'm trying not to freak out. I mean, there's so many things that we could freak out about right now in our society, but uh I'm just going to remain patient on this one. But of course, like you said, we don't want this to necessarily go away. I was trying to listen to the arguments that are for and against, and really in terms of like arguments, I didn't really see any clear ideas, perspectives as to why net neutrality, these rules should be killed off.
There aren't any.
I know, then that's sort of like the reasoning behind it. Like if I was just someone who say didn't make a living via the internet, I would be like, okay, what's all the fuss about? And I would just be sort of a neutral party, and people would argue for and against. When I was listening to the comments from the FCC chairs, I just didn't really get it as to why. Okay, they just say that the liberal view on it is that there's a lot of fear mongering.
It's such a liberal view, right?
Apparently, it is. We're voting among party lines, but
it's like a bipartisan group of people that said like you should not do this vote today, like both Republicans and Democrat, like, but it's a liberal thing.
It was just odd that I lost my train of thought, but it was just unfortunate that it was such a it was just a weird event, I guess. I want to say, right, with the
well, you were talking about like reasons that they've given, like they're trying to sell you on why it is that we need to get rid of these rules, and you were just saying like you haven't been sold.
Exactly, I haven't been sold on it, even though, like, say I wanted to be. I was actively trying to be sold on the idea of killing it, reverting to the Title I. I wasn't convinced. So, but then I did not appreciate that there was this, they tossed out the fear mongering phrase a couple of times. And that's not at all how I saw it, right? I mean, I think the people on, I'm just going to say the left, the people who were for the open internet, they were just trying to say, hey, here's some examples of countries that don't have net neutrality, and here's what it looks like for them. And it's a pretty terrible hell-like landscape where
dual sims, one sim for services, another sim for these.
Exactly. You're paying for certain services and kind of like a modular internet, and that's just not what the internet is about. And I know the creators of the internet were talking to the big wigs, and they said, this isn't what we had in mind, blah blah blah, this isn't what the internet is. So it's unfortunate, but again, like I said, I'm not freaking out yet because there's a lot that can be done. I'm constantly getting emails from like, we can overcome this, or we can overturn the FCC's decision via legislation. So
yeah, there's obviously some ways this can be stopped or slowed. Who knows if any of that will be successful. I just like to go back to your point about why. So look, I get why Ajit Pai, the FCC chairman, and his homies, like, I get why they're on the side of telecom. They're on the side of ISPs. They don't hold back basically with their stance on that. I just want to understand, like, from consumers, because there's people in our comments and stuff, like we wrote up the news today, and there's people that are like, we don't need these stinking rules, buddy. Like, why are you whining? Like, before net neutrality rules were in place, we didn't have any problems. Well, that's not actually true. But like that. So that theory is there wasn't a problem a couple years ago. So and that was before these rules. So if we wipe these out, it just goes back to normal, right? Like, well, do you actually believe, you actually feel safe with that? So in other words, you were okay just saying like, I trust Verizon. And look, I subscribe to Verizon service. I also signed up for an unlimited data plan from Verizon in like February when they introduced it. It died in like 6 months. And now when I go try to upgrade to them, I can't even keep that package. I mean, like, they change all the time. This is the company that like blocked Google Wallet and then essentially lied about it over and over why they were blocking it. And we all know it was because they had their own payment service. I mean, like, if you guys probably don't remember that, like AT&T used to block FaceTime. Like these things weren't that long ago. And I know a lot of people forgot. I'm just trying to say, like, you're putting your trust in the company who makes tons of money off of you to not change things to make money off of you in terrible ways. Like that's your stance is, well, if it used to be that way, so let's just trust them. I'm sorry, I might be more skeptical than you, I guess. I don't necessarily put that much trust in these companies to have my best interest. I think that's a reasonable position to take. Look, I know you can be anti big government. There's nothing wrong with that. There should be some regulations over these companies that have monopolies in all sorts of areas across this country. My internet is Comcast. Do I have another choice? Maybe CenturyLink's DSL. That's it. And that's obviously a subpar product to what I have now. I don't have a choice. Like, this is it. If Comcast starts screwing my stuff and throttling Netflix and not this, like, I don't have a choice. I'm just stuck with that. That's why some of these rules were in place. So I think this is bad. Obviously, some people have asked, like, well, what happens today? And it's like, well, nothing happens today. One of the things the FCC pushed today is they said, well, this allows customers to, again, call out their service providers if they're doing sneaky things and, choosing with their wallet and all that stuff. And that does work on some level, right? So if they start doing these things, it is our responsibility to immediately call them out and say, this is garbage, report them to the FTC or whoever we can at this point, who doesn't really have much authority anyway and knows nothing about telecom or about internet. So like that will happen, and that may work if we vote with our wallets. I just wonder how long that works for. If stuff starts happening, does that continue to work? Or does Verizon, or I shouldn't be just picking on Verizon, right? Like maybe T-Mobile says, all right, we won't do it. And then one day they say, you know what? Our investors want more money. We're going to just deal with the backlash and it'll eventually go away and people will stick with us. And then we're just screwed. And I think that's typically what happens. So.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about who you currently subscribe to, and you're lucky to even have a choice between Suddenlink and Comcast. For when it comes to internet, something that everyone, basically everyone uses. When you talk about making a service more bad and sort of, or if you switch to CenturyLink, your experience won't be as good. That could lead to a quality of life issue because the internet is your job, right? Internet is my job. And if we can't access it in the same way that we have been for the past decade and more, that becomes a real problem. And so it could make it harder for people just to do their job. And that's scary.
Well, that goes back to the argument that I just talked about, right? Like people are saying, well, like it was fine before these rules. And you just said, if this starts shifting and they start changing the way we access the internet, then we're not at the same place we were before these rules. We're not there anymore. And so by getting rid of these rules completely and going probably even further backwards, you're really opening it up to being the internet a different place than you've had it even before net neutrality. So I'm just saying, like, the argument, just because say you're on the right and you deregulate everything and all of that, like this is about consumer protection on the base level. To me, this is about consumer protection, and you don't have it anymore with your internet service provider. And you may only have one choice. I grew up in Montana. We had no choices for anything, like 2 cell carriers. One was garbage. I was with Verizon forever because of that. Our internet provider, we had like one. It's still there. There's like 1 or 2. Again, I live in Portland right now. Tim and I basically have one internet provider. If they start doing crap, we don't have a choice. So it's, and again, if you want to go back to this was happening before, there was only one then. There was only one carrier then. There was only one with net neutrality. There's still only going to be one after.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to get too fired up.
Right. Well, it's also going to be easier for that one in control to remain in control and not have to worry about competition with the removal of these rules. So it's kind of sad, but again, I'm trying not to freak out. You know what I appreciate is I've seen so much discussion on Twitter and even on Facebook from my friends and family who I wouldn't really point to as being like literate in terms of the internet.
Yeah.
But they're actually talking about it. And when you talk about it and you make your opinion voices heard, but not on the FCC website, right? Because it's just nothing but bot comments saying they're
right.
against it.
Right.
But when you talk about it and you make it a real issue, and with the 2018 elections coming up, it's an important time. So this is I feel like we're at a crossroads, and it's important to be on the right side of the internet and history and all that good stuff. So I might just cry.
The internet wasn't made so that we could all pick and we would have our choices made for us on what we access. I feel like that's kind of where we're could be headed. Again, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it'll be awesome, Tim.
Yeah,
these prices are going to go down, and like you and I are going to not only be able to choose Comcast, we're going to have like 6 other ISPs to choose from, and they'll be faster. So then Comcast will be faster.
I think, I mean, net neutrality kills incubation of innovation, blah, blah, blah. You liberals, all you do is fearmonger, et cetera, et cetera. It's, I'm excited. I'm not just, excited may be the wrong word. I'm very interested in to see what happens, just so we can say, hey, you guys lied. Like, things did change, and we're coming for you. And according to polls, I mean, like 80+% of America is for net neutrality.
Yeah.
So how does that translate at the polling places when people really decide the direction of the country? So
yeah, because no one's listening to us as consumers. Apparently, we don't matter. 83% of the country, it doesn't matter.
One of the FCC chairs was on there today saying, yeah, I mean, we don't take those comments into consideration. We read them, but we don't take them into serious consideration when we're deciding. Point, right? Exactly. What's the point? You're just there with the Russian bots, listing your stupid comment. You put your name on a petition.org or whatever. It doesn't do anything. So you have to actually get out there and vote, and you be proactive about it. Don't just sit on your lazy butt on your internet and tweet about it. Go do something. I've seen a lot of great discussion in the our live chat that's going up on YouTube right now. Someone was asking, I actually appreciated this. Are you going to be paying Comcast to not throttle Droid Life content when that comes around? Comcast has not reached out to us in terms of their pricing structure for how much Droid Life will have to pay. We don't know if we're going to have to pay the same amount as Netflix to deliver our content. So it's all going to determine on when Comcast releases their pricing structure.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that when we know how much we have to pay Comcast to deliver you.
Yeah, to not block us.
Content. Yeah.
I really doubt that we're going to be paying for a fast lane, though. I don't think that's in our budget.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's in the budget either.
Unless we want to fire up a Patreon so people can pay for our fast lane for us.
I hope everyone's wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're all wrong. I hope that Comcast and Verizon, AT&T and T-Mobile and Sprint and Charter and whoever else, I hope they take care of us. I hope they go, you know what, you guys, now that these rules are gone, we're going to make this awesome. We're going to give you all the features, and we're going to expand to 5G, and we're not going to charge you extra for 5G for the first 2 years, and we're not going to break up your plans into all these garbage things, and we're going to lower prices, and all those unlimited throttling things we're already doing because no one at the FCC wants to enforce anything. Like, we're not going to do any of that. Like, it's going to be just free and open, and it's going to be awesome. I hope that happens. Yeah,
I mean, Verizon, Comcast especially have already been doing sneaky stuff with these Title II rules in place, and we've caught them thankfully on a few occasions, and they've had to switch up what they're doing. What's them to say, okay, now net neutrality is dead? I mean, what really stops them essentially? So my point is they were already doing sneaky stuff. So now with, say, less protection in place for consumers, what's to stop them from really going overboard? And Verizon and Comcast especially, I don't think have ever shown that they necessarily care about what they're doing to the consumer or anything like that. So unless there's like unless there's a PR backlash, that was one of the comments that really struck me this morning, is that
That's what they're saying. We're going to police all these telecoms. That's what their hope is, that we the consumers
will
police
do it.
them.
Yeah. Well, these companies, it's not worth it to the companies to implement rules that affect consumers because they don't want to face a PR nightmare or a backlash or something. It's like, what do they care? I mean, they've got they don't.
How many has Verizon pushed through in the last couple of years with unlimited data and all that? They just go through it. The only one, and I'm actually proud as shit about this, a few years ago, we found out they were going to add a fee onto, I can't remember what the damn fee was, like $1.50 fee. And we broke the news on that days before they could announce it. And the backlash was so huge, they actually backed away from it. That's the only time I can think that it's ever happened. Otherwise, no, they've added this fee and that fee and tweaked this fee and that fee and unlimited data, not unlimited, and pushed you off and done all this. And there's backlash on all that stuff.
I guess I will say that is one prime example of people just on an Android blog and Twitter freaking out. And we made change happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Our record
you're
is
welcome,
like
Verizon customers. We say
or something.
Exactly. I mean, you're welcome, Verizon customers. We saved you like $1.25 a month. So Patreon.
So yeah. But again, I'm not seeing arguments for why we do this. The only argument I keep seeing is it was fine before, so it'll be fine now. You're putting a lot of faith in a company that doesn't care about you whatsoever. The net neutrality rules that were put in place were like a proactive measure to make sure that they weren't effing you constantly. Those aren't there anymore. They are free to be able to do that. Will they? I guess let's see what kind of balls Verizon and Comcast and T-Mobile and all those guys got.
Massive. Filled with cash.
Yeah. That's all. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's like a million pieces that have been written about this. I don't know that I've seen a single technology related blog, and a lot of them know this stuff pretty well. They live and breathe this. This is their job. I don't know that I've seen a single one say, "No, it's cool. We should totally kill net neutrality." Like, find me a legitimate tech site who does this for a living that has said, like, "No, this will be good. This will be good." And maybe that doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people out here that get paid to know this stuff, and I don't know that I've seen one write that this is a good thing. Of course, Tom Wheeler already wrote his piece that said, like, this is stupid. We linked to that on our site, but I just look, guys, they don't have the best interests of the consumers at heart. Like, they don't. I just think that'll be bad for all of us in the long run. I hope I'm proven wrong. Prove me wrong. Yeah, telecom industry.
As Tom Green points out, does anyone else care that provisions to shut down illegal content were destroyed with this too? I myself personally haven't read every single word inside of this deal. So as Kellen said, there's already been a million pieces written about what this means across the entire spectrum. I know we're talking about kind of like a specific point and just the ISPs and content providers, but then there's going to be a billion other pieces that come forward as we get into 2018. And I'm sure it's going to be a hot topic at CES and people talking about it. So we're going to see a lot more information coming. And my suggestion would be to read as much as you can on it. That way you're informed about it. And I'm trying to read up on it myself, dude, because
a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Exactly. It wasn't that long ago when no one was talking about net neutrality, Title I, Title II, and all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of terms that I didn't know about. So there's a lot of stuff to read up on.
The signs were there that some of these companies were maybe not going to do some great things. We put in some proactive measures, and now those are gone. So we'll see. Again, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We could be all wrong. It's celebrity fear mongering, Tim. It's the only reason anyone cares about it is a bunch of celebrities got on the tweets and said, "Yeah, this is scary," and we all went, "Yeah, celebrities, we always listen to you."
Yeah, liberal media said
that's what Jim Pai said. He said that it was celebrity fear mongering. As he's like running through a skit about how he's like a puppet for Verizon. Like, that's funny, bro. That's real funny. Like, we actually think you are a Verizon puppet, and like you think it's funny to then like make a skit. Anyway, I could say a lot of terrible things about that dude, but refrain from doing so on air.
Yeah, Big Brother is watching you now.
I don't give a crap. I'm on Google's platform. I'm sure they'll pay tons of money to keep me up and running on Hangouts.
That's true.
We're good. Wait, there's the bonus there. All we have to do is just stick with Google. They got so much money, and they're gonna want their services first. Like, we're good. What do we care, Tim? This doesn't matter. We use Google services. They'll pay out the you know what to keep us up and running. Let's do it. Remove net neutrality. Let's just get rid of it. All I use is Google. That's all I need, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, then you're gonna have to start paying more possibly for access to the Google stuff. So,
oh, yeah, that's right. That probably is how that works, huh?
Yeah.
No longer free Gmail, premium Gmail, $2 a month. Can't wait for that.
I'd probably pay for that
with no ads. No, there'll still be ads in it.
There'll still be ads. Yeah, they have to have ads.
Still be ads. Premium Hangouts, which they don't even support anymore. Can't wait for that add on.
That'd be sweet.
It's gonna be good.
Hey, good times ahead.
When
Don't worry.
All those costs get passed back down to us, it's gonna be fun. Can't wait till everyone shows up in the comments then and is like, "What? What happened? What happened?"
Manny Rosenberg says, "Don't believe the hype. Michael Jackson is alive and well." I could see it. But yeah.
All right.
Where do we
keep talking about net neutrality, or should we just move on?
Keep calm, carry on. Don't freak out yet.
But you should. I do encourage you, as Tim did, to read up on this stuff. You may as well know what you can know. Read them from all points of view, although there is only pretty much like one point of view that it sucks outside of the government right now telling you, "No, don't worry about it." But anyway, you should read as much as you can about it because it could affect you soon. Could. And when it does, you'll know why.
Yeah. Also, read Kellen's post about it. We just posted about the net neutrality ruling, and I recommend if you don't want to read other sites and you want to read Droid Life, check it out.
Yeah, there's a post on it. There's a couple profanities in there, but one's asterisked out, so it shouldn't offend you too much.
Kill it.
All right, moving on then. OnePlus 5T. I think the last time we had a show, I talked about how this review is coming, and it's actually up now. I think I also talked basically about my thoughts on the phone, but this is a good one. I will just say that. It's so weird to switch gears from being all fired up about net neutrality to talking about the OnePlus 5T.
Yes.
Feels weird, right? Anyway, so video reviews up. We didn't do a written review of this because it's basically the OnePlus 5, which we did a written review of outside of, the display. So I got a little tickle in the old throat. Yeah, this is a good phone, even at $500. And I know I've kind of given them some hell about their slowly uptick of pricing. At $500, like the package you get, display's solid, camera's actually, I think, pretty highly improved over the regular OnePlus 5. It's if you want that stock Android experience, they're getting better with updates. You kind of can't go wrong with this thing. There's no water resistance, there's no wireless charge, there's no SD card slot. Like those three things aren't here, but overall, I really like this phone. I'm back on the Pixel 2 XL, but this is a really good phone. If people are buying a fingerprint reader on the back, it's awesome as ever. The display looks solid. No, I didn't really have anything negative to say about the phone for the most part.
I don't want to harp on this because I know the good old boys will come after me, but the price is really good for the OnePlus 5T. What's it start at?
$500.
$500, guys. This is a great phone. It might be missing a few things like water resistance and
it's only a 1080p display, but
yeah, it's only
fine.
No, it's totally
Google
fine.
has a 1080p display in the Pixel 2, and they want $650 for that bad boy.
Exactly. It does have water resistance though,
and dual speakers, but
dual speakers. But
and it gets updates like yesterday. But
it's a good looking phone. I think the price is right, and it's hot. It's not bad.
It's a nice upgrade. Like last year, we went from the OnePlus 3 to the 3T. There wasn't really much of an upgrade. I think the battery capacity went up, and they used the newer Snapdragon, like 836, whatever it was. No, what was that? 821. What was like the upgrade year where there was like Qualcomm released a second processor that was just like one notch higher? It must have been. It was 820, 821.
820,
right?
yes. Yeah.
So they had threw the 821 in. slightly bigger battery. And that was like kind of it, right? It was like the same camera and stuff. This
Yeah.
year though, it's quite a bit different. I mean, it's the same processor and RAM and storage, but like that display experience is much better. Cameras are improved. So it actually had some nice improvements.
Yeah. Who was it? I just saw it in the Jeremy would like to know what phones we're using now. I mean, the year is sort of wrapping up. I think it's good that people know what phones you and I will be using into the new year. All right. Pixel 2 XLs in black and white, baby.
Yeah. It is the black and white Pixel 2 XL. Do we need to talk about why? I mean,
yeah, sure. I mean, just a few reasons, maybe.
Yeah. It's outside of like the size, which I think the phone's too damn big. I don't really like the size of it. Like I like the design, the performance is top notch. It's already up on 8.1. The camera is the best in the business. Battery life solid. I'm not really sure what else, there is to say. Like, it was stupid expensive. Don't get me wrong. Like Pixel 2 XL is not a cheap phone. But yeah, that's the phone. Like it just kind of ticks all the boxes. Again, outside of it being, I think it's just too big. Like I do struggle sometimes with it a little bit. It's not like really, really huge, but it's pretty big. It's like Note size almost, which is almost too big for me. But yeah, I mean, I like it a lot.
I love it. Hardware is awesome. I mean, the camera is great. Software experience is awesome. Seems to only be getting better sometimes. So there's a lot of good stuff going on with the Pixel 2 XL. It will likely be phone of the year. I'll have to like reconvene with Kellen on that. We're going to get our phone of the year list going. We'll have like our top 5 and whatever, but you can expect this one to be pretty darn high on the list, if not it. So, but we have
it's got always on display.
I know.
Like that was like that little tweak they did, the listening music thing. I love that. There's like all these little things about it that are just great.
Yeah, you've got front-facing speakers.
That too.
Water resistance. It's definitely the best Pixel phone ever released. So
I will also say that the display, I don't notice anything wrong about it anymore.
Oh my god, so blue and grainy. What are you talking? I'm just kidding.
I know, but it's like worth talking about, right? Like you've been using it even longer than me because I took a break to get on the 5T, but like have you been sitting on your couch playing a game, your little Star Wars, whatever the hell you're playing, doing whatever, this, that, like, and gone, man, this display is trash. Like, has that happened yet?
No.
All right, it hasn't happened for me either.
All right.
Just saying, like, it was such a big, I mean, we could not get the Pixel 2 XL out of the headlines because this display was the worst piece of technology anyone had ever seen. It's fine. It's not great. It's not the greatest display. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat just dropped Trump. Are you kidding me? Look, you guys, if you're new to the show, excuse me, I'm like burping on air. If you're new to the show, the Trump thing about it's just funny. It's just funny. Doesn't mean that Tim's a Trump supporter. It's just funny.
No, yeah, I have yet to I want to dress him up and stuff, and put these signs on him.
No, I should shirt on him or something.
Exactly, just so people don't get confused as to why he's there. I'm so far left that it's sort of like I'm so far left that I'm sometimes conservative. It's weird. I'm so liberally weird. It's conservative. I don't know. Anyway, I'll work on that.
Anyway, just clear that up before anyone freaks out.
He's just a cutout, guys. It's not the real thing. It's just a cutout.
Yeah, the real Trump is actually not in Tim's office right now. Just so you guys know, like Tim and Trump are not hanging out right now. That is a cutout.
He is at a golf course chilling. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, Pixel 2 XL. We're both using this, and the black and white. Like the color scheme here is just cool. Like like my brother the other day was like, "What phone are you using?" I was like, "Oh, it's a Pixel 2 XL." And he's like, "That orange button is cool." Like that was like a thing he said. I was like, "It is cool." It's just a nice looking phone, and this white one just has a good feel to it. It's not slippery at all. It's got a good it's not sticky, but in a way, kind of. It's just grippy.
Yeah.
It's just a nice looking phone.
Good. Penguin for the win.
Yeah. Good stuff. And the camera is just stupid good. I mean, the camera really is something else on the new Pixel phones.
It's stupid good. I take a lot of pictures just because I love taking pictures on it. Like it's
one of those things where like you take a picture and then you immediately look at it and you go, yeah, that's good. Like you get excited when you take pictures with these phones.
Exactly.
You need one of a JIT Pie. You need I need the JIT Pie cut out like right there.
That'd be nice. I actually, I originally wanted a Bernie Sanders cutout, but all of his cardboard cutouts looked really stupid. Like there wasn't one of him just standing there with thumbs up looking stupid. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll get the Trump one. It's ironic.
There isn't one with like him with the bird that landed on his podium, like here in Portland.
Like, that would be awesome. I'll have to look. I mean, I got it on Amazon. It was like on sale for $15.
Trump cutouts already on sale.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, OnePlus 5T, if your budget's $500, not to like really jump back there, it's totally worth it. Great phone. Great phone. And if your budget's $1,000, get the Pixel 2 XL. It's pretty much, I think, where we're going there. Let's see. Google Home Max is now available. We have one in house. It's not in the office here. It's out there. Google Home Max is $400. It's Google's high-end hi-fi speaker. You guys know it. It has a system built in, but it's also supposed to have good audio quality. It comes in chalk or charcoal. I went with the chalk, and it sounds pretty good. It gets really loud too, which is kind of awesome. I am swapping it in place of a Sonos Play 5 that I had from like years ago, like the original Play 5, which still sounds great, by the way, but like the assistant functionality having built in there in my living room is kind of nicer to have than a Sonos. But anyways, we'll test it. I can't really like report back on like how great the audio quality is. All I know is I think it sounds good in the limited time I've listened to it. And I get that $400 is no joke. Like that's a lot of money for a speaker. At the same time, it is a big old bad boy speaker that, like, if you bought it, it will fill your house with sound. Unless you have a mansion or something. You probably need like a couple. I don't know. Google Home Max. You gonna buy one?
No, it's a little out of my price range.
You have speakers in your house on, like, if you were like, I'm gonna listen to some music tonight while I make dinner, like, I'm just curious. Like,
I just use my Google Home for that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if you use Home or if you had like a pair of like stereo speakers that you bought back in the day that have no smarts at all or anything.
Yeah, no, like I don't have any Sonos. I don't even have a sound bar for my TV. I just use, like, I guess it's just never been something I'm really like concerned about. I have a speaker for my office, like a really nice one. It's the Marshall speakers. They sound great. And, because I'm in my office, I'm bumping tunes. I like to have good music up here. But when I'm downstairs, I just need my Google Home.
Yeah, that's true. It probably does a decent enough job.
It does. I don't know what you need, but I'm not like, I don't need to be in the club while I'm like making dinner. You apparently you want to be at the concert, first row.
Well, mine's like stupid over the top at this point, because I have these Polk audio speakers, bookshelf speakers that I bought like years ago. And they sound incredible. And then I like couldn't use them for a while. Like I had them hooked up to like some sort of like DAC or something. And then I kind of put them away because like I got some Sonos and stuff, but I missed the sound they could produce. And then Chromecast audio came out and it like revived them. So I have those on a bookshelf next to my kitchen. And then like now I have that Google Home Max out there. And so Chromecast audio and Google Home, you can join as an audio group. So I have like an audio group that plays music from both of those at the same time. It's completely overkill, but it's like the club environment up in here, Tim. I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, well, hey, I can appreciate it. I mean, I'm a lover of music. I'm a lover of good sound quality. I just hate paying sound quality prices.
Yeah.
And it's expensive stuff. So
it is expensive stuff.
I got other stuff to worry about.
That's true. Speaking of sound, Pixel Buds. Hold on. Sorry, I had to get them out. Pixel Buds. Reviewed the Pixel Buds this week, and as you can see, they're already boxed back up because these are a review unit, and they need to go back to Google at some point. Don't buy these. Not sure what else to say. Pixel Buds are Google's smart earbuds. They're supposed to be wireless, but I mean, that's a wire. There's a wire there, Tim. They're not truly wireless.
No, they're not.
It costs $160. They have Google Assistant on board, which is actually, oh no, Google, don't do that. Google Home firing up. Oh, thanks. So $160, they have Google Assistant on board. They play music too. They do a fancy translate thing. The problem is they're not super comfortable to wear. They're like a one size fits all. You don't have like extra earbud tips or anything to get like a really good fit, which kind of sucks at 160 bucks. Battery life is actually pretty solid though. The sound experience, I don't think is like offensive. Like I think they sound fine, like for a pair of earbuds. My problems are that, well, they don't. It's tough to get a good fit. Like I said, they're not that comfortable to wear. They only pair with like one device at a time, which could be a pain for some people. The assistant stuff is like fine, but it's not like that game changing. And like the touchpad is kind of like oversensitive and kind of confusing to use. You can't even change the track by touching the touchpad. You have to like say the Google command and have it change a track for you. There's just like a whole bunch of limitations to it that aren't really that awesome. Not to mention like the pairing process can be kind of confusing. The case that comes with them is kind of cheap.
Okay, so you don't like them.
I don't like them. No, I don't like them. It's just one of those things where like there was a bunch of early reviews out and everyone trashed them, and I've just kind of been using them off and on and finally got around to reviewing them. And I was like, all right, do I have a different opinion than the people who trashed them earlier? And I was just like, I'm sorry guys, I don't. Like I think some people weren't a fan of the sound. I think the audio experience is fine. I mean, they're earbuds. You're not going to get the greatest sound ever out of some earbuds. These ones sound fine. They don't fit well. They're kind of big, and at 160 bucks, I think you could probably do better. So anyway, yeah, don't buy them.
All right, I won't.
All right, so that out of the way. Probably chuck that back in my review box. Let's talk about the Galaxy S9 for a second. So we got CAD renders. Oops, I'm gonna choke. We got CAD renders of the phone today. So On Leaks teamed up with a site called 91 Mobile, who I think he teams up with often. Anyway, he's got CAD renders that probably are like the case schematics that some case maker got, and then they recreated them in CAD so they can create cases that fit them when the phone releases, that whole thing. Anyways, they show the device from like every single angle, and good things I think in store. On the back, instead of the fingerprint reader being in that horizontal off right position that was terrible, they're going to align everything vertically. So camera with the fingerprint reader right underneath that, you should be able to reach that thing no problem. This is totally the design that it should have been out of the gate. I don't know what the hell Samsung was thinking, but other than that, doesn't it just kind of look like a S8?
It really does. It actually looks exactly like an S8. There are a couple, or at least one kind of size difference that was noted, and that the front display is going to measure around 5.65 inches. And pretty sure the Galaxy S8, like the standard one, was 5.8 inches.
It was 5.8, yeah.
Yeah,
so smaller, I guess.
Yeah, so we could be seeing something a little bit smaller. But also the front bezel on the bottom chin is supposed to be a little bit thinner on this year's model. So there are things. Cool.
So still big display, slightly smaller. I like it.
Could be. So these are CAD renders, though. Like you said, I mean, this could be pretty darn official, at least in terms, from what we can get from measurements for cases and stuff. So, I mean, these case makers need to have these measurements well ahead of time to have products ready to go. So we still don't know when Samsung's going to unveil it. There's still that report out there that says we could see tease of it, or inklings of it at CES next month, early next month, which is only a couple of weeks away. So
it is kind of crazy that we're seeing these full like CAD style renders already. Like if this phone isn't coming out until, well, last year the S8 came out in April. I know they took some extra time because I think of the battery concerns from the Note 7, but like, does that mean this thing's coming like in early February? Like, what the hell is going on? Like, this seems really early. I guess I didn't look to see like last year when we saw the first renders like this of the S8, but this seems really early. It's December.
It's December. So we could be close. I mean, well, technically, I guess we've got to be close.
It kind of seems like we should be sort of close.
February, March.
That's crazy. I mean, we got our invite to Samsung CES press event, and it doesn't
mention phones.
It says like TVs, watches, and appliances.
Well, so CES, we know, just is not the place anymore for smartphones. It's smart cars, smart appliances, and IoT. And
But like their invite didn't say like, and a special secret unveiling of anything or a tease. It just said like TVs, watches, appliances. So I mean, it doesn't seem like we'll even get a tease, but I don't know. But if we're getting renders already, it seems early, but
it's hard to tell, man.
it is hard to tell. Maybe they're just moving fast now. Last year they had a little bit of delay with the battery concerns, and now they're just
yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Nothing. Jeremy in the chat says, "Hey Tim, why did Samsung?" Never mind, he just retracted the message.
Just retract that.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
I was gonna say we did get a report. Well, no, Synaptics, not a report. Synaptics, the company that makes fingerprint readers for everyone, said they like announced that during CES they're gonna show off an under glass, right? An under display fingerprint reader from a top 5 OEM. I mean, that could mean Samsung. It probably means like Xiaomi or somebody like that. Huawei, maybe. It could be somebody like that. But they said like at CES, we're going to show it from a top 5 OEM. That's actually big news. That means we're getting there.
That's massive news. So you guys kidding? We've been talking about this for so long. I mean, for the first time we heard about this, it was with the FS9100 optical sensor, and we thought it was going to be inside of the Galaxy S8. But then a report obviously came out afterwards that said, "Oh, Samsung ran out of time. They weren't able to implement that technology that they were working with Synaptics on to include it." So maybe we're like, okay, maybe the Note 8, but then that came and went, didn't come. So they are going to be showcasing the FS9500, which is the next generation of this optical fingerprint reading solution. It should be pretty cool. They said Clear ID. It's called Clear ID. Clear ID performance is twice as fast as 3D facial recognition, and that's a poke at Apple. Oh, yeah. And requires only one touch to access your smartphone. So I'm excited. It's either going to be Samsung, Oppo, Huawei, Vivo, or Xiaomi, but we're assuming it's not Samsung because we just saw the Galaxy S9 CAD renders, and there's a fingerprint reader on the back.
On the back, yeah.
And not only that, but Synaptics said not only is it going to be from a top 5 OEM, but it's going to be a tier 1 device, which means a flagship smartphone. Yeah. So Oppo, Huawei, Vivo, or Xiaomi.
I'm putting money on either Xiaomi or Oppo.
I'm putting my money on Xiaomi.
Yeah.
They innovate. I mean, we know they're not huge here in the US, but I could see them doing it.
Yeah, they do some new stuff.
They love being on that. They're on the fringe of innovation, man.
But that's cool. I hope we get there. Because that means the fingerprint reader won't die then, like Apple thinks it's trying to do. You know that next iPhone's going to have this under glass thing. And they're going to go, okay, now it's best of both worlds, after they just said like Face ID is better than fingerprint readers. Like, get out of here, Apple.
Exactly.
Fingerprint faster.
So maybe Jeremy reworded his question. He says, "Hey, Tim, why did Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus have the home button on the back, not under the screen?" Yeah. That, as I said, they were working with Synaptics, but they ran out of time. We wrote a whole story about this and did the whole like emoji.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's coming. I mean, this is exciting. I don't know about you, but we don't have to worry about fingerprint reader placement anymore. Like, sure, Samsung's fixing it apparently on the Galaxy S9, but just having it underneath the display is going to be awesome. I'm so looking forward to this. I just hope it's good. I don't want it to be janky. I imagine this could be so janky. But like, maybe if you have your hand is like a little wet or something, like it won't read it properly. I could just imagine so much crap. But
yeah, I mean, those are issues with current fingerprint readers anyway. So as long as it works fast when you're in normal conditions,
yeah,
hope that's how it works.
We shall see.
All right, Google Assistant expanded reach today. It's now available on, not today, this week. On Android tablets running Android 6.0 Plus, and also smartphones running Lollipop. What was Lollipop? 5?
Android 5.0.
Oh, yeah, because KitKat was like 4.1 or something, right?
4.4.
Oh, was it 4.4? That's right. The Jelly Bean was like 4.2, right? 4.1, 4.2. Ice cream sandwich was
4.1 and 4.2.
Yeah.
And 4.3. Oh, God. Jelly Bean was a mess.
It used to be so confusing.
A mess.
All right. Anyways, Assistant has expanded. Tablets 6.0. smartphones, 5.0.
5.0. You got it. Android tab, man, these tablet users have been crying. Well, the 5 Android tablet users in the world have been crying for Google Assistant, and it finally came.
This is going to sound really bad, but I had no idea that tablets didn't have access to Google Assistant.
This has been a big deal, man.
Which is kind of crazy because I don't even know if anyone makes tablets anymore. Samsung?
No?
LG makes cheap ones every once in a while that carriers sell.
Yeah.
And I think Samsung still does. I think that's it.
Huawei is like the big maker of Android tablets right now.
Huawei does make them.
Media tabs or whatever they're calling them.
Yeah.
And they are all terrible. I'm sorry, Huawei, but they're so bad. It's the skin. The skin's just bad. It's just not a fun experience. So you heard it here first.
It's always the problem. Yeah. All right. We got new Android distribution numbers this week, and Oreo jumped up from 0.3%, I believe, to 0.5%. And 8.1 is not even on there. So this is just 8.0. Yeah, that's not good. We're how many months are we in here now? Or 8.0 arrived in what, August?
Yeah.
We're like 4 months in.
0.5%.
That's not good. 4 months later, and 0.5% are on the newest version of Android. And look, Nougat's only at 23%. And that's been out for over a year. That is not good.
That's not good.
No,
it's embarrassing, dude. I mean, like, if you ever want to have an argument with like an iOS fanboy, even though there's no reason to argue, right? We're all human beings. We should all love each other, but that's just not the way it is. Their argument to you is always the killer. They're like, yeah, well, what version of Android is your phone running?
Well, not if you have a Pixel phone, though.
Oh, yeah, well, who has a Pixel? Not everyone has a Pixel.
I'm just saying, like, Pixel is the same level as the iPhone because Google makes the software and the hardware, so they update it instantly. So, like, that's what I mean. Like, if you want to ever compare, you just go, well, Google's Pixel phones are exactly like that's how they work. Yeah, Samsung isn't because they don't make the software. I mean, it's just... Well, yeah, I know you're right. You can't ever win that argument unless you have a Pixel phone. But I'm just saying it's stupid because it's not even like the same thing. Like Samsung doesn't make the software.
Well, no, they don't. But the fact is, more people have Galaxy phones than Pixel phones.
Yeah.
So until that changes, the argument is valid.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's a terrible, like, the argument doesn't actually make sense because it's not, you're not comparing the same situation, but they will always use that and they'll go,
because they see it as just Android is Android, right? It doesn't matter who's making it. They see these distribution numbers and they're lolling at us, even though the older iPhones are getting lesser versions than the latest iPhones are getting with their iOS updates. It's still, they've got a valid point, and we as poor Android souls will just have to suffer.
I guess.
Unless you have a Pixel, but I know that's not many of you.
Somebody in the chat who has a Pixel XS caliber says, I have a Pixel XL and still on 8.0.
I'm still on 8.0, man. Like, I
still haven't gotten that. What do you hear on AT&T?
Yes. It's unlocked.
Like, it really feels like
I'm in the beta.
Google is letting carriers. You're still in the beta and you haven't gotten it?
I'm in the beta and I haven't gotten it.
That's odd.
It is odd. I heard that there was like a bug with the 8.1, so they held off on the update and then they were going to re-push it. I even talked to Google support and they said it was rolling out in batches. And I was like, batches for the beta? Like, what the hell is this? Just make it available.
Usually the beta is like one batch.
Yes. Apparently that's not the case for my phone.
I mean, I flashed the
sideloaded
file.
So I'm just going to sideload it too because I'm over it. I want my new hamburger emoji and I want my Star Wars AR stickers.
Yeah, how do you not have those? I play with them all the time. My kid loves the Stormtrooper one.
David says restart your phone. That's what worked for me. I've restarted many a time, my good friend, and nothing. I'll do it right now on the show, though.
See if you get that update. Get that breaking news out there that it's finally rolling out.
Yeah.
Anyway, in terms of distribution numbers, Marshmallow is still at 30% of the ecosystem, and Lollipop's at 26%. I mean, you could go back, and there's some people running some old software. Like some poor soul still has Lollipop. Like a quarter of Android users are still running a Lollipop.
And they just got Google Assistant. So it's sad. It's a sad time to be an Android user unless you have a Pixel, unless you're the 0.5% of the Android population who has a nice phone that gets updated, I should say. A lot of nice phones, but only one of them is actually supported by Google. It's ridiculous. Come on, man. What are we doing here?
I don't know. Speaking of that, though, 8.1, we haven't had a show since this happened, but Android 8.1 is out. So that's why we're talking about how I haven't, Tim doesn't, and people in the chat don't seem to. There's nothing really new there, right? What was new in 8.1 besides the hamburger emoji?
Hamburger emoji, and
I think that's actually video on it, and I can't remember what's in it.
Well, this update does also have like the December security patch, and
yeah, so you get the updated security patch. It does tweak some UI stuff, like the notification pull down is like more transparent, things like that. There's some like subtle changes, but nothing huge. It's 8.1.
I restarted my phone. Still no update, just so everyone knows.
You got to give that thing like 5 minutes. It takes forever everything to sync up after a reboot. I hate it. I hate rebooting phones.
The Pixel reboot is so nice, though. What are you talking about? It's instant.
No, it does, but you have to unlock it. So like it reboots right now, but you have to unlock it for everything to actually load.
Sure.
And then it takes everything a while to sync and all that crap.
Still better than what it used to be, my man.
It is definitely. It's just as long as you remember. I don't know how many times though I've turned on a phone and then I didn't like wake it and unlock it the first time. And then like it had been an hour and I didn't have like a notification or anything, and like nothing's like happened because I hadn't opened it all the way to get everything to fire up and start working. So remember that, folks. If you reboot your phone, make sure and you're running like Oreo, make sure you unlock it afterwards at least once to get everything kind of cooking again.
All right. Good tip. I like pro tips.
Yeah, a little pro tip. Man, the chat just has some weird spam bots today. Kind of
That's good. That's good. We're getting our name's getting out there.
That's true. So T-Mobile had an Uncarrier announcement this week. I don't know why this is Uncarrier, but they called it Uncarrier. They are acquiring Layer 3 TV, a company no one has ever heard of, because they're going to launch their own TV service in 2018, and they're going to disrupt it. They're going to un-TV carrier. Do they have a term for what they're going to do yet? Because they're the Uncarrier, but if you're launching a TV service, are you the uncabler? What are you?
I like that. Uncabler.
The uncabler. So they don't really have anything to announce other than they're acquiring Layer 3 TV. So Layer 3 TV, from what I can tell, because their website shows absolutely nothing about who they are for the most part, they are a cable company. I shouldn't say a cable company. They're a cable service where you get a box and it's this fancy, and they're proud of their cable box. It has like a big old hard drive in it, so you can store like thousands of hours of DVR stuff. And it streams 4K, and they have lots of channels, I believe. Anyway, so you get this box and you hook it up to your main TV or your internet router, and then you get all these little mini boxes and you hook them up in the rest of your house, and then it beams everything throughout your house. So I don't think you need like cable jacks in. I believe it's kind of internet TV-ish. I believe that's exactly what it is, actually. Anyway, so it beams it around. You get 4K and all your TVs if you have 4K TVs everywhere. And it looks kind of slick. So they announced that they acquired that company that does that, who's only in select markets. But their plan is to use like their technology and create this like nationwide T-Mobile TV service. And I mean, they didn't announce pricing. They didn't say channel lineups. They didn't say what to expect. They took jabs at the cable industry about how cable companies are awful to their customers, and they always do those shady bundle things like Comcast does, where they want you to get phone service, which none of us can figure out why, because none of us use home phones anymore. They took shots at that, and I'm just going, okay, that's cool, T-Mobile. You can trash on them, but we all know you're going to offer T-Mobile TV with your T-Mobile One plan. I mean, like, they're going to bundle. Why wouldn't they? We know that's exactly what they're going to do. So, I don't know. What do you think? T-Mobile TV sound exciting? I know you're a YouTube TV guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not too keen on this whole T-Mobile TV service. I appreciate what they've done for the wireless kind of landscape. I do appreciate that. I guess it's possible that they could do something really cool. Layer 3, I never heard of it. So
no one has.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen. But hey, if there's anyone who can disrupt something, I guess it's John Leisure and the T-Mo crew. So,
hey, I hope so. I'm down to try some T-Mobile TV as long as it's not ridiculously priced. And I don't know. We don't really know that much about it. 2018 is not far away, but we don't know how far away they'll actually launch this service. It could be cool. Like the images in the UI they showed is all sorts of T-Mobile pink and magenta, and I'm not really a fan of that UI, but that could change, I would guess. It could be slick. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I really want to put a bunch of boxes around my house. I kind of like it that like my internet TV. I guess I have Shield TVs there. Wait, so now I'm gonna have Shield TV, and actually they'll probably have an app that you can download and stream it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like you said, if anyone's gonna disrupt, it could be them. Oh, Snapdragon 845. We talked about Snapdragon earlier. It's official. The Snapdragon 845. Qualcomm hosted this big old boondoggle in Hawaii and announced all the Snapdragon stuff. And the 845 was the star of the show. And they had to tease it for like 2 days or something. I mean, it took forever, and then they announced it. And it sounds cool. It's going to be in your phone next year if you buy a new phone, more than likely. Let's see, what are the specs? New Cryo 385 architecture, 25% performance lift in gaming application launch times and other performance intensive tasks. This is my writing I'm reading. Over the 835. So that's huge, right? So huge. New image signal processor and an Adreno 630 GPU. So better gaming, better image performance. All about VR and AR and all that stuff, because they're basically just going to funnel these things into anyone who wants to make a VR AR headset or something like that, right? What else? They think battery life will get even better, which they labeled as, quote, virtually all day battery life. Are we already at virtually all day battery life? Like, that doesn't really sound like an improvement. They did say a 30% performance improvement in just overall performance, I think, for power reduction or something like that. But I mean, all day battery life, that's like what we have now. That doesn't really sound like improvement. X20 LTE modem for that gigabit LTE, because everyone's going to be rolling that out soon. I don't know. It's processor talk. Like, I was kind of shocked that Qualcomm hosted this entire event and like sat on stage for like 2 days hyping the Snapdragon 845. Like, Samsung announces a new phone and they spend like an hour talking about their new phone, which does a bajillion things, and like people buy millions of them. They're like a fun thing to talk about. And then on top of that, they announced like a camera and a new Chromebook and like all this other stuff, right? And Qualcomm talked about a processor for like 2 days. And not to take anything away from the nerds who really love that stuff, but man,
it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, you had all the hype built up for day one. Everyone was live streaming, blah, blah, blah. And then they didn't even talk about it. Like, it was really, and then day two was so boring because all they were going to talk about was the 845 and the specs. I guess maybe they don't think that people care about that stuff, but no, like, that's the only thing we cared about. And instead they had this train of people who were so boring to listen to. It was terrible. I'm so glad I didn't go. Even though it was in Hawaii, and I know a lot of our Android blogging counterparts were there, and but no, it's just not how we roll. We're not going to go to Hawaii for 1 week to get 30 minutes of information. It was ridiculous.
Yes,
trigger.
I would 100% agree with that. Yeah,
I'm like Thomas the Tank Engine right now. I'm just straight triggered.
So anyway, the Snapdragon 845 is official. Samsung's making it just like they did 835. Well, we don't know. I shouldn't say I'm sure. We don't know that the S9 has like the early dibs on the 845, but it probably does. So the S9 will come out running that 845. Hopefully, no one else has to wait. Remember, like last year, like LG released. Yeah, they released the G6 and got screwed and had to put the 821 in there and all that stuff. So
fail.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I want to address one comment in the chat. I am not a Hawaii hater. I actually love Hawaii. I don't want to go there for work. Especially processor talk. I mean, come on now, it's no fun. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I love Hawaii's fantastic. The hate there was like talking about processors for a week in Hawaii.
Yeah.
With a bunch of bloggers. No thanks.
Bloggers aren't cool, guys. Come on.
Such haters.
Yeah.
Such haters, Tim. In huge news, though, today, the Chromecast has returned to Amazon.
Yes.
You can't actually buy it yet, but there's listings for them again. Can you buy it now? Nope. It still says email me. So Chromecast Ultra showed up on Amazon today.
This is huge news. Following a 2-year ban late October, Amazon said no more Apple TVs or no more Chromecast. And finally, it's back in amid this feud between Google and Amazon. This is big. This is Amazon throwing out that olive branch in the midst of net neutrality dying and saying, you know what, maybe we need to partner up. And you want to go halvesies on Safeway with us, and we can all just dominate the grocery space, and it's gonna be great. So I don't know.
You know, we already all own Chromecast, so this probably doesn't really mean anything, but it's still cool.
I think it's just another spot where we can go and say, oh, hey, Chromecast is on sale. Like, I mean, in terms of saving money, like Amazon's where I look the first place when I'm trying to buy anything. Yeah. So
I'm with you. It's the first place I look to.
Yeah, especially when you had Google saying that they were going to cut YouTube support on certain Fire products. I mean, that was pretty much like, well, yeah, that kind of sucks. So Amazon was like, okay, we'll give you this if you give us that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that YouTube getting pulled from Amazon is a much bigger deal to Amazon than Amazon not selling the Chromecast for Google. Like, if Google goes, oh, you don't want to play nice, we're just going to take YouTube away from all of your stuff. And then all of Amazon's people go, what happened to YouTube? Yeah. And then when they go look that up and everyone goes, yeah, Google pulled it because Amazon doesn't want to play nice with the Chromecast. That's not going to look good on Amazon.
Well,
either way, it's a terrible situation. And I wish it never would have happened. I'm just saying, like, YouTube's a bigger deal than, like, to Amazon, I would think, than Google getting kind of mad that people can't buy the Chromecast on Amazon.
Yeah, the Chromecast not being on Amazon did not stop Google from selling millions of Chromecast units. It's like their most popular device ever.
Right.
So it was still a hit.
Yeah.
So I love that Google has control of YouTube like that. You know, I appreciate that YouTube is actually owned by Google, just because it's such a powerful platform. And when you can wield it like that, as a tool and as a weapon, man, I mean, it really just puts Google in such a power position. When you're talking, especially,
we should have net neutrality to control that, Tim.
No, man, no. Like, if a company owns something, it is their right to wield it however they choose. I'm all for that.
So that's why Verizon wants to wield their network however they choose. Throttle it all. Oh, you don't want to play nice?
I just switched to the side of I'm okay for killing off net neutrality. I get it now. I've seen the light.
Which is part of the argument, is that Verizon has invested billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in I keep putting out Verizon, but they're just, you know, they just come up. That they put all this money into these networks, they should be able to do whatever they want, is part of the argument. And they should be able to control traffic because people are sending traffic over their airwaves, and Netflix is streaming may be hurting that experience. And so Verizon needs to control that network management. I mean, that's like the argument they're going to always make, which, you know, stands up somewhat. The thing is, you basically made a utility. So you're the one that made the utility, homeboy Verizon.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. God, the bots are real in the chat. Oh, you already got that one before I could get there.
Yeah, bots are out in full force today. I welcome the bots. The Banhammer.
They obviously just did a search for net neutrality and saw that we were live, and they were just like, "Oh, let's get in there." All right. I think that's it.
Gosh,
lots of stuff. Got fired up early.
Solid hour show. Not bad. No, it's been solid. I know we got Christmas coming. So I don't think we were expecting to do a show next week.
We'll do another one next. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Christmas is next weekend, right?
Technically, what's Monday? But
yeah, I don't think there'll be a show next week. We'll probably take definitely next week off. We may return the following week right before the end of the year. Just talk about some stuff. Talk about the year. Talk about CES. Whatever. We always try to do, I think, usually one last show of the year. It may be on like a Tuesday, maybe on like a Thursday again. Tough to say. But we'll probably have one more show before the year's over, just so you guys know.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Have a happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, happy holidays. Be safe out there. Love your neighbor, like all that good stuff.
Stream at will for now.
Yes, for now. Get it in while you can, folks.
While you can. Stream it up. All right. Anyways, peace, everyone. Droid Life.
Peace.